Let's talk about the SAVE Act, everyone. This is HR 22. You've probably heard a lot about it. I've been working on it for a while, trying to make it through the language of the bill. I've gone through literally word by word and plugged it in with the National Voter Registration Act of 1993. So it's taken me a little bit to get through it, but this is the Safeguard American Voter Eligibility Act. The number one question I've been getting on the SAVE Act has been, if you're married and you change your name, it's not the same as your birth certificate, you won't be able to vote. That's a red herring, everybody. That is what I believe they are trying to get everybody all upset about rather than actually paying attention to what this bill's about. So I think the idea that anyone changing their name is going to have this huge problem, voter suppression, no, that's not what this bill is about, actually. Any of the identification documents you use for anything in the U.S., when it comes to registering whatever, those are all the same. That's all the same stuff you would need anyway. This is nothing new. Of course, your birth certificate name's not going to match your new name if you got married. Of course it's not. But then you use other identification. All of that stuff is normal, and we do it all the time. Now, our states have the job under the Constitution of kind of going through our elections, right? They're the ones that do the detailed work, the trenches work. What the SAVE Act is doing here is pulling the power away from the states to go through their voter registration process. Not only that, but also setting up punishments for state employees when it comes to voter registration things. Now, this whole cloak and dagger BS regarding being afraid of your name, no, this is about immigration. Now, if you are not a citizen of the United States, you can't register to vote. That's the law. But what this act is saying, not a single state in the United States is competent enough to make a determination as to whether or not someone is a citizen. That's what this act is all about. There's going to be federal penalties as well as a very strict way of running the entire voter registration process under the federal government. And if you somehow accidentally make a mistake, or if you're a state actor and your state has different rules than what they think every single state should do because it's a huge federal overreach by Congress, you could be looking at some significant penalties. So this SAVE Act regarding, well, we want to make sure everyone's a citizen, we have things already in place. We have the Voter Registration Act. We have different laws and different rules in each state. Do we need to firm those up? Sure, go through your state. What the federal government here is trying to do is micromanage the shit out of your voter registration rules. Not only that, but those voter registration rolls, they're telling you what you need to have on them and what you need to have off of them. So they're saying you need to remove these people according to the federal government, not according to state law, which is what it's supposed to be. And we're telling you how to set them up, how to review them, how to remove people. So you go in and just start dinking around with the voter registration rolls that are all in place. Remember hearing about that a little bit when a whole bunch of voters were being purged out of the system? That's what this law is saying. We're going to also do that. So it's a multiple pieces meant to force the states to abide by some new set up rules and structures and policies and committees and all of these things to micromanage how states do their voter registration. This is awful. We had a U.S. Supreme Court case just last year talking about certain forms, federal forms that are used for voter registration. And it was a huge issue. And the Supreme Court was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. States have powers here. This is what they're supposed to be doing. And the federal government's not supposed to be overreaching. This is an overreach. If you don't want to have federal government in every single little tiny piece of your world, then you're not going to want this bill. It's so frustrating and actually alarming, the level of power and control the federal government's proposing in this law. It's not about changing your name. It's not about even proper paperwork. This is about the federal government telling the state exactly how to run what the state has as far as constitutional authority and power over regarding voter registration and voters in their state. They're pulling that power away from the state, and they're saying, you don't know what you're doing. You guys are idiots. You need to follow our specific protocol, or you're going to get sued, you're going to go to jail. So the SAVE Act, do you need to worry about name changes? Absolutely not. The paperwork that you would normally have for your name on anything is the same. It's still a hassle. You still have to show that. But the real issue here is actually diminishing state power, state authority, and pulling it out so the federal government can control it. Oh, they're trying to absolutely make a humongous power grab here with federal regulation that does not need to be in place whatsoever by micromanaging this stuff. Now, if you're saying, well, we don't want non-citizens to vote, duh, non-citizens can't vote. And if you want stricter laws on that, your state legislators are going to take care of it. This isn't about whether or not non-citizens can vote. This is about creating lists of people and judging those lists and putting information in order for everyone to get information about you, private information about you, and other people in your community so that they can judge for themselves the federal government about citizenship and how they want to go forward. So the SAVE Act is one step towards authoritarianism, and you should be worried about it. You should absolutely be worried.